What's good everyone, Shurit here. So today I'm bringing you guys a Darklord deck profile. Now I decided to mix the viruses with it because the issue with Darklords is that yes, you can easily get through your deck, you can draw a lot of cards, you can summon a lot of monsters, but at the end of the day you're not accomplishing much. You're just summoning these high level monsters, high attack points. They're kind of like vanillas, so at that point you might as well play Blue Eyes. So I thought mixing viruses with it will give it another like level of power, and it will be able to allow you to disrupt your opponent a little bit more and be able to accomplish a bit more with the deck, because that's been the issue with Darklord. They're such a powerful deck, but at the end of the day you're not doing much. Now with Spirals and Pendulum Magicians, you're putting like negation up, you're putting so many high level monsters with effects up. Darklords all have that same one effect where you can get cards back from the graveyard, and it doesn't really work that well if you've already like powered through your deck and you haven't really got many plays to do. So I thought that using the viruses will definitely help out the deck. So let's get straight into the deck profile. So first up we play 3 copies of Darklord IXCHEL. IXCHEL is obviously the best Darklord in my opinion. Discarding it with another Darklord to draw 2 cards, easily get your Darklords into the graveyard to bring them back from the graveyard, draw 2 more cards to get through your deck, get access to the virus card. Overall a really solid card. Of course it has that effect where you pay 1000 life points, shuffle back a Darklord card from the graveyard into your deck, and then you'll be able to activate that Darklord card's effect. So overall that's really good. Obviously all the Darklords have that effect, but it does work really well with IXCHEL, because IXCHEL is the one you're going to get out most of the time because it does have high defense points, high attack points, and it easily gets into the graveyard in comparison to the other ones. So next up we play 3 copies of Superbia. Superbia is really good because it's a level 8, so you can use trade-in with it. Also the issue with this deck is because you're going to tribute one of your monsters for the virus card, you want to keep another one on the field to be able to push for game. So you'll obviously activate Darklord Contact, bring back Superbia. Superbia will bring back another monster, and then you'll tribute one of their monsters for the virus card, and then of course you'll still have one of their monsters to be able to attack. You don't want to leave your field wide open. You don't really want to like waste your Darklord Contact to bring back a monster and then have to tribute it for a virus. So Superbia does really help you play around that one issue. Superbia, the level 8 using for trading is obviously good, and then the other effect bringing back a monster from the graveyard. So because of them 2 reasons I definitely recommend playing the full 3 copies of Superbia. And then next up we play 3 copies of Darklord NASTEN. Not as good as Superbia or IXCHEL. You discard 2 other Darklord cards to special summon it. Obviously if you're in a bit of a tight spot, you want to get Darklords into the graveyard and get a Darklord on your field. That's the effect you're going to be using. It's a target for a Law of Darkness, of course. I put 3 in because we needed more Darklord cards, but the other ones weren't all that compared to NASTEN, so I definitely recommend playing the 3 NASTEN. And then next up for the other 3 off, you may find this a bit unusual, but that's 3 copies of Darklord UKOBACK, the normal summon. I play 3 copies of this because we play Crush Card Virus, and it is obviously the only target for Crush Card Virus, plus it's your only normal summon, so it's not really that much of a big deal playing the full 3 copies, because most of the time you're not going to draw 3 copies. Even if you do, there's so many ways to get the Darklord cards out of your hand, it's no big deal. So I do recommend playing the full 3 copies so Crush Card Virus isn't dead. And then for the one-offs we play 1 copy of Darklord TEZCATLIPOCA. Its effect is basically like Gungate, it's a protection. Obviously if your opponent's trying to get rid of one of your monsters with Regeki or alternative, because they're obviously high monsters, hard to get around, TEZCATLIPOCA can protect it. I don't really recommend playing more than 1 copy because it could potentially brick you, and you've really got enough Darklords in the deck, and its effect isn't all that in comparison to cards like IXCHEL. And then next up, 1 copy of Darklord ZERATO, obviously another level 8 for trading. Darklord ZERATO has a good effect which allows you to wipe your opponent's board, and it's kind of easy to summon. You need 4 dark monsters in the graveyard, and then you can summon it without tributing, and obviously Darklord Contact and other cards can easily bring it back. And then 1 copy of the card I can't pronounce, Darklord AMDUSC or something. Tell me in the comment section if I got that right, God knows if I did. But AMDUSC is alright, it's level 6, I just play 1 copy because I wanted to have a good number of Darklords in the deck. Obviously if you don't really like it, Allure of Darkness can easily get rid of it. You can discard it with IXCHEL, it's not really much of a problem. And then finally 1 copy of ARCHLORD KRISTYA. A lot of people play more than 1 copy in the Darklord deck, but because this isn't really focused around KRISTYA lock, it's focused more around the viruses, I only play the 1 KRISTYA, another level 8 for trading. Most of the time what you want to do is you want to activate Darklord Contact. This is kind of like your optimal play. Activate Contact, bring back Superbia, bring back KRISTYA. Then you tribute Superbia for like Full Force Virus or Deck Devastation Virus, and then you've still got that KRISTYA lock on the field, so that's really strong. So that's it for the monsters. Going on to the spells, we have 3 copies of the kind of rotor type card that is casting out the Darklords. Obviously all you get to do is add a Darklord monster from your deck to your hand. It is really strong, easy activation requirement, which is absolutely nothing. It's such a cool card that you don't have any activation requirement. I really do love that. Obviously you can potentially use it twice if you use the Darklord's effect to shuffle it back into the deck, and then you can reuse that effect. So getting 2 searches in 1 turn is really strong. Next up, 3 copies of Darklord Contact, another good card. It's the monster reborn of the deck. It's really good that you can search these cards out as well, and that you can shuffle them back into the deck off the Darklord monster's effects to reuse them. So I think that's really good that the deck has good recovery as well, because if you're using a virus deck, you're going to go through your deck pretty quickly, especially with all this draw power. So being able to recover your cards is really cool. Next up, for the draw power, we play 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. Obviously all the monsters in the deck are dark, apart from KRISTYA obviously. So Allure of Darkness, a lot of the time you're going to be able to use it. Remember guys though, don't try and overuse it, because if you banish too many of your dark monsters, if you banish too many of your IXCHELs or your Superbias or so, then it does get a bit tight. So be careful with Allure of Darkness. Don't just think it's a draw 2 and it's free. You do obviously have to still banish that 1 dark monster. And then next up, for the card I've mentioned so much, that is 3 copies of Trading. It works obviously with Superbia, ZERATO and KRISTYA. Trading's another good draw power card. You do need as much draw power as possible in the deck, because just like Blue Eyes, there are a lot of high power monsters in this deck and you could be prone to bricking, but because of the draw power, this deck is alright. And then next up, 2 copies of Pot of Desires. Pot of Desires is an alright card in the deck. Obviously if you banish too many of your dark monsters or your viruses, it could be a problem, but it does rarely happen because we play so many copies of the cards, and obviously you don't really want to play the full 3 copies because you can only activate 1 per turn. So I recommend keeping it at 2. And then obviously, why wouldn't you play Monster Reborn in this deck? Because you want to bring back your monsters from the graveyard. Monster Reborn is such a good card right now, and I still can't get over you can bring back monsters from your opponent's graveyard, so that's really cool as well. And then next up, for the traps, we play 2 copies of Full Force Virus. I'm really happy that we can play this card because it came out in Raging Tempest and it barely got any attention. Nobody really cared about it, but I think it's a really cool card, being able to destroy your opponent's monsters. The activation requirements fine. It's kind of like the old Crush Card Virus, but a bit different. So I really think Full Force Virus is a cool card. Full Force Virus, of course, activating it, destroying your opponent's monsters. If you do manage to pull it off, a lot of the time you are going to win, because a lot of the monsters nowadays are prone to Full Force Virus. And then next up, we played 2 copies of Deck Devastation Virus. This card once again didn't get much attention, but obviously right now I did decide to play it in the deck because it does have the free turn clause on it. So it's really amazing being able to kind of stall out your opponent for free turns, destroying their monsters. And I did pick the viruses that are kind of more powerful than the others, because there are a lot of viruses, but if you put too many in the deck, then it can like prone to brick and stuff. So I think the number I have played is alright. And then next up, 2 copies of Crush Card Virus. Crush Card Virus is obviously really cool, being able to destroy the high level monsters. Obviously this isn't as good as the other one, so if you guys want to side it out, maybe game 2 or so, then I do recommend siding one of these copies out. But I played 2 copies because I played the full free UKOBACK, and sometimes you can pull off 2 viruses in a turn. So if you pull off Full Force Virus and Crush Card Virus in 1 turn, you're pretty much destroying all your opponent's monsters. So I think that is really cool. And then finally, the card that's limited that I wish wasn't limited, that's Eradicator Epidermis Virus. Eradicator is so good right now because so many people are playing spells and traps. It's so good against Paleo and decks like that, wiping out all their back row, wiping out all the cards in their hand. Going first with this deck is so cool. Just destroying your opponent's cards before they even get to use them is really fun. I really do enjoy doing that. And then for the final 2 cards, we play 1 copy of Darklord Rebellion. Obviously this card can be reused from the graveyard, and I believe when you reuse it, you don't have to pay the cost, because what the Darklords actually say is apply that card's effect. So Darklord Rebellion requires you to discard a card to use its effect, so the fact that you don't have to discard that card and you can reuse it is really cool. And obviously if you activate this card and then you destroy one of your opponent's cards, and then in the same turn you use your Darklord monster's effects to activate it again, you're essentially getting a pop 2, which is really cool. And then finally, 1 copy of Darklord Enchantment. Just taking control of one of your opponent's monsters is cool. It's an easy side out target as well, because it's kind of like just an extra power card that's not really necessary, but you might as well play it because you can reuse it with the Darklord monster's effects. And then finally, for the extra deck, to be honest, the extra deck is just full of random cards that you can potentially one-off summon. So without further ado, we have 1 copy of number 81, Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Superdora. Yep,
Good memory there, remembered that. So obviously level 10 if you overlay 2 IXCHELs, or overlay, yeah, pretty much 2 IXCHELs. Maybe, I think TEZCATLIPOCA might be a 9 or a 10. And then Super Dreadnought, Rail Cannon, Gustav Max. Then number 95, Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter Dragon. Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Photon Dragon. Then number 62, Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon. And then Galaxy Eyes CIPHER Dragon. Just putting in as many big Xyz monsters as we can. Then True King VFD, or True King of all Calamities, whatever you want to call it. I kind of miss True King of all Calamities. As much as I hated going up against it, it was kind of fun to summon it, and you don't really see it that often anymore because Litho obviously got banned. Hashtag rip Litho in the comment section if you've watched this far. And then Phantom Fortress, Enter Blafnir. Number 22 Zombie-Stein. This card is kind of underrated. It is a cool card. 2 level 8 dark monsters, and it obviously has 4,500 attack points, so it can help you push for game. Number 38, obviously for the extra negation. Then Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon. We got all the Galaxy Eyes in here. And then Hieratic Sun Dragon, Overlord of Heliopolis. Then Alcei, the Sylvan High Protector. Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosac, which apparently had a buyout. I think I saw that on House of Champs channel. I don't know why people are buying out Dracosac. It's not Dragon Ruler format. Chill out, guys. And then number 11, Big Eye for the last card. So that's been it for the deck profile. If you guys have any thoughts in the comment section, please do tell me. If you guys enjoyed the video, please do tell me in the comment section. Be sure to share the video because we need to increase that Shurit squad. We need more people in the Shurit squad. 1,270 people isn't enough. We got to get more. Hashtag road to 2,000. This has been Shurit. Peace.